Hey guys, and welcome to the wonderful world of the internet. So you guys recognise the M16A3, don't you? Of course you do. It's pretty much single-handedly become the most, or one of the most used weapons in Battlefield 3. For a fairly simple and obvious reason. Because it's the best. Now I want to discuss the situation and what we would like to see from weapon balance in Battlefield 4. Now let me go back a little bit to when Battlefield 3 was first released. When I first started playing Battlefield, my weapons of choice were mostly the F2000, if people even remember that weapon. In fact, I've got a video coming using it. But I mainly used that because it was amazing when it first came out. It had crazy fire rate, wasn't too shabby with accuracy, and it was kind of a toss-up between using that and the AEK, which was equally as fast and as deadly. But at the time, the AEK had a lot of vertical recoil. The F2000 had very little, so the F2000 was basically the obvious choice. As time went on though, and as patches came and went, the M16A3 started to shine through as the overall best weapon. A decent fire rate, 800 rounds per minute to be exact, which is not as high as the F2000 or AEK, but it's still exceptionally high. Not only that, they had far better accuracy than the other rifles, so you combine accuracy with high rate of fire, and you're onto a winner. Now over the patches, the weapons have of course been balanced. The F2000 has been changed slightly, so has the AEK, to try and bring them more in line with the M16A3. The M16A3 itself has undergone some changes in terms of recoil and spread, to try and make it maybe not as good as it was, and make the other rifles more of a viable option. The M416, for example, is more of an option than it was before. It was always super accurate, but because of its rate of fire being slightly less than the M16A3, it was usually overlooked. They're fairly even now though. It's more of a personal preference, I think, but after playing with both of them last night, I think it's probably fair to say the M16A3 is still the overall winner. So that brings me on to my main point. Is this the sort of thing we want to see in Battlefield 4? You know, a lot of people complain about people using the M16A3 a lot in public servers and the like. In competitive matches, however, it's expected. There's no problem there, no one's going to moan about you using an M16A3, it's the best rifle, people expect you to use it. But in general public, a lot of people dislike the fact that everyone uses the 16A3 when playing as a medic. What we have to consider here is, though, why would the majority of people not play with the best rifle in the game? It stands to reason that people have personal preferences, and they use different weapons based on their taste, but the majority will go with the already proven solution. And the problem is that for most part, the other rifles just don't offer any other advantage that the M16A3 is not already capable of. This isn't always a bad thing though. Look at Counter-Strike. For many years, Counter-Strike lived off players using pretty much three main weapons. The AK, the M4 and the AWP. Now, there were other alternatives, there were guns used on ecos, etc, etc. But if you played Counter-Strike for a length of time, the main weapons you would see are those three, because they were the best. Battlefield is no different. Players will quickly work out what weapon is the best in Battlefield 4, and they're going to stick to it. As a competitive gamer, I know I will. I will try and work out which is the best overall rifle. If there is one, they might be balanced. But I'll work out which one is the best, and I'll stick to it, and I'll play with it, and I'll play with it, and play with it until I know it in and out. The question is, though, will Battlefield 4 have more balanced weapons? Will we have to choose our weapon more carefully based on the situation or the map? Will certain weapons be better in different situations, or will the M16A3 still reign supreme? We have no idea just yet what weapons will be in the game. What we can safely say though is the gunplay isn't going to be drastically different, so I'm fairly confident all of the main Battlefield 3 weapons will come across, plus some new ones I'm sure. I'm fairly confident we're still going to see the M16A3, the M416, probably the F2000 and the AEK in some shape or form, but I do think they probably will try and balance it a little bit more. Right now the M16A3 works in all situations, so why use a different weapon? Maybe it would be a bit more interesting if, based on the map, say for instance you were playing, let's say Grand Bazaar, for example, let's use the Battlefield 3 example, and you would maybe use the AEK because it's close range, but then the AEK would be so terrible at range that if you were playing a map, say Tehran Highway, you'd have to use the M16A3. But maybe the M16A3 in the new Battlefield would have a slower fire rate. But this all has to be balanced out with the fact that these guns are based off real-world equivalents, so they couldn't just drop the fire rate on the M16A3. It would have to be something else that they would do to change it. They'd have to use a different weapon or give the M16A3 some sort of downside. Whatever they decide to do, we'll just have to wait and see. Only time will tell how it's going to pan out in Battlefield 4. No matter how well they balance it though, there will always be a weapon that people will go to that will be the overall best. And we've just got to wait and see what that is. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, guys. Like and subscribe if you did. And as always, I'll catch you on the next one.